Welcome back to the GOAT Debate. I am your host, Abaya Israel. The GOAT Debate brought to you by GOAT Debate Media. I'm here with the two coaches, Coach Scott and Coach J.O. We have an awesome show lined up for you. We're going to jump right into it right after this.
Even though I killed the ghost, there's still room to debate. It's either Jordan or LeBron who being labeled the great. If you hungry for the smoke, then come and get you a plate. Cause some rock with LBJ and some giving them hate. Come tune into the show, cause we about to get into it. Jordan is the GOAT. But now it's time to prove it.
All right, fellas, we back. Got another good show lined up. Listen, we're going to jump right into it. The LeBron James scandal. This thing was out before. We heard about it way back when. It has resurfaced, Coach J.O. It's back, and it's back, the reason it's back, well, one of the primary reasons, should I say, Hall of Famer Kevin Garnett. He made a statement, and what he did, he went over there and shook the sleeping bear, and everybody started looking like, whoa, what does he mean by that?
Right. Bronny get a bucket on Bron right now?
Yeah, he can get a bucket on Bron right now.
Nope.
Yeah, he can get a bucket.
No way. Nope.
Nah, he can get a bucket on
Bron
Dad right
averaging
now.
25.
No, I didn't say he ain't. I don't care what he's doing, but he ain't sliding, playing at that all defensive level.
25. Nah. Lord, 25. Lord, he dunking. He's still dunking the ball with.
I'm saying that Bronny can get a bucket on Bron.
I'm saying he can't. One rollout, get a bucket.
3 dribbles?
No way.
I'm talking about. He can get a bucket on him.
No.
Man, come on, that little dude explosive, bro.
He is, but you seen his dad? His dad on that balcony.
Yeah,
he on that new
he
juice.
Ain't sliding like he used to.
Balco, that new juice, those were the statements by Kevin Garnett. He on that Balco, he on that new juice. Bronny can't get a bucket on him. Coach J.O., what's going on? Is there a reason we're looking at LeBron James scoring 40,000 points, playing 21 years, having the same exact statistics in 2024 that he had in 2013? Is he on that Balco? Is he on that new juice? Or are people just hating? What's really going on?
Listen, I don't want to allege anything or accuse anyone of anything that's not 100% factual.
Right.
All right. But where there's smoke, there's fire. It's just that simple. Okay. Now, there has been reports from many, many reputable people, right? Whether it's George Karl, Kevin Garnett, Derrick Rose. There's a lot of people who have stated there is a PED problem. Okay. George Karl had a book he came out in 2016, Furious George. He stated the NBA has a PED problem. Why are players getting older, but getting thinner and more fitter? He stated that, right? That's George Karl. That's a coach that coached many years in the NBA. He stated that, right? Now, this case, the biogenesis ledger or whatever you want to call it, has been going on for years, over 15 years now. They've been investigating. ESPN has been doing their due diligence, reporting on this over a year. Now, we have to be fair to LeBron James and state that ultimately the DEA found that there was absolutely no findings for LeBron James using PEDs. That's what they said. Okay? Now,
right.
But hey, we have eyes. We can come up with our own opinions about whatever it is that's going on. We can see it. We can see certain things. It just is what it is. When you got players like Kevin Garnett stating that so loosely, LeBron James on that new Balco, he stated this. And he stated a PED Balco. He stated this, right? I don't know. True enough, he probably was being jovial or whatever, but
right.
Come on. But he stated something specific. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a specific drug he stated, right? Like, I don't know. Like, that's hard, right? That's hard.
So
now,
with that being said, on that show, now I watched the full show. I know everybody they're watching this clip, but he stated it more than once. He said it a couple times.
Okay.
And my thing was, Paul Pierce, he's talking to Paul Pierce. There's no response. It was just like, okay, either it just went over his head both times, or he's just like, yeah, he just kept it going. But he said it more than once, Coach J.O.
And see, I'm into fitness, right? And there's this thing that's very popular in the gyms amongst the fellas. Natty or not natty. We're at the point now in 2024 that if you're not natural, natty means natural. If you're not natural, it doesn't mean anything anymore. No one cares. Everyone is taking something to enhance their body. Everyone is doing it. Okay. So do I believe that players in the NBA or different sports around the world use performance enhancing drugs? Yes, I do. I do believe that. Can I absolutely prove that? No, I cannot. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was an investigation done on all of the major American team sports and there was this finding that all of the great players were using. It would not surprise me at all.
Yeah. Coach Scott, shout out to the guys who are actually really investigating. And I'm going to say shout out to Jason Whitlock. I appreciate his work. I will be honest and say I wasn't the biggest fan initially. and some things I'm still not the biggest fan on. But I do appreciate when he's just being honest and just doing his job, you know? And he gave an example about, he used McDonald's, right? And he was like, listen, if you walk into a house and you're investigating who ate all the McDonald's, or you walk in and there's McDonald's on the living room table, there's McDonald's on the kitchen table, and there's this one overweight guy, he's sitting there. And then you have 2 or 3 skinny individuals. But yet you come to the conclusion that the overweight guy didn't even so much as eat a French fry. It was all the skinny folk. Common sense. It don't make sense. Like it's not real. Is it impossible? No, it's not. But is it realistic? Also, no, it is not. Coach Scott, why are the closest people around LeBron James caught up in the scandal that he has been cleared from?
I don't know why. I don't know why. That is something that I definitely would like to see the findings of. I mean, I know we have a DEA that went in and did over a very thorough investigation, so to speak, and they recused him of all dealings. You know, for me, again, I'm a LeBron James fan. Former, athlete, professional athlete. And I know specifically, when we say PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, there are things that are on ban lists. Everybody knows this. This is, it's not, yesterday's news. There are drugs that you cannot take. But from a performance enhancing, you talking about creatine, you can go to GNC and get that. You talking about whey protein, you can go to GNC and get that. Those are what they call performance enhancers. Those are things that actually increase and boost stamina and things of that nature. Now, as it pertains to LeBron James and his career, I personally, as a fan, would like to know, is the guy that I'm rooting for, is the guy that I'm cheering for, is he a PED user? Is he an abuser of the game? Because that would take away the credibility and the greatness that I personally feel that he's had over 21 years of basketball, and it would actually change my opinion of his greatness. Now, until those findings come out, LeBron James, to me, is still the GOAT.
Well, that's funny. You said Mike was the GOAT last time. But, all right, it's okay. We'll give it to LeBron this week on your behalf.
If it can change, I can change.
Right? Okay, that's fair. I can't even argue that. That's fair. Coach J.O., I'm gonna read this September 23rd article. Names LeBron James' business manager Ernest Mims and trainer David Alexander as close associates. They were named, those two, they were named in an unearthed document as clients of Biogenesis. All right. A representative for James told ESPN the current Los Angeles Laker had no knowledge of that he or his wife or any associates were even referenced in the Biogenesis investigation until approached by a media organization member last year. Okay, Coach, this is me. I'm talking about me here now. When I start letting my common sense, or I just looking at it like you like to say, the eye test, I start to say, why are your 2 close associates, your lifelong partner, inside of a situation? If it's me, and if you can cause me any harm by something you do, you need not to do it, or you need to get out of my circle. Now, we understand the one that is going to always be there. But I'm just saying, anybody who's around me, I would hope they would think about that before they do anything to put me in a situation that will cause, a lot of chaos in my profession or my life or anything. But I'm thinking, I don't know, Coach J.O. My mind tells me, hey, we got fall men around us as well. I want to try and keep my personal opinion out. I want to read the facts or the allegations, should I say, that are coming out. But, Coach, this looks pretty bad.
Oh, there's definitely something riding in Denmark. There's definitely something riding in Denmark, right? All right. Randy Mims, Ernest Mims, that's his quote unquote best friend, or if not best friend, one of his best friends, business manager, right-hand man, right? And in this report, it was alleged that he was purchasing PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, testosterone, okay, from Tony Bosch, right? Randy Mims, I don't know whether anybody has saw him or the audience has saw him, but he's a pretty thick guy, right? And that was for his quote unquote personal use. Okay. Now, I have best friends, I have associates, and I know that if my best friend was using PEDs, and I do have a good friend who has used PEDs before, and he told me, right? He just told me he was doing it, right? Because we were both into fitness, and he just told me. I'm not saying that Randy Mims is obligated to tell LeBron James this, or LeBron James has to know that Randy Mims is using, but that's just common talk amongst friends. If you're doing something as such, I would think that that's a conversation that you have with your best friends. All right.
Yeah.
And especially if your wife is involved in this, like if your wife gets caught up in an allegation like this, your wife, you mean to tell me you absolutely have heard nothing about this? Come on now.
That's the part that's really getting me, right? So we have Kevin Garnett, who in 2024, recently, last week or so, has made the statement he on that new juice, got that Balco, that Balco, right? Then you have Chael Sonnen, a former MMA fighter, who stated that him and LeBron, hey, we got the same drug guy. Nobody took that seriously. Maybe a few people probably listened, but nobody really picked up on what he was saying. He's kind of passed it by. But we forget in 2011, and I'm going to read his statement concerning the steroid use or the PED use in the NBA, Derrick Rose. He says, it's huge. And I think we need a level playing field where nobody has the advantage over the next person. And saying this in reference to when they were playing the Miami Heat. He later recanted that statement and said, I didn't understand the question. And I kind of understand why he may have recanted because, hey, listen, when you got a boss, you still got to watch what you say. I get it. Now, Coach Scott, I want to read this really quick. This is by sportsworldnews.com. In 2013, a woman claiming to be a former employee of Embattled alleged Major League Baseball steroid provider Anthony Bosch, which is the owner of Biogenesis, which is an anti-aging little organization or thing he had going on. And that's the sole point of what we're talking about right now. How is LeBron James pushing 40, but playing like he's still in his 20s? It's amazing. It's just a question. But she alleged that close associates of LeBron James would regularly visit the clinic. And each time they took products with them for someone bearing the initials LB. All right. Now, again, this is all alleged. So we're not just sitting here saying, oh, y'all, you guys hating. You just want to hate. We're reading what someone else stated. All right. I wasn't there. I don't think Coach J or Coach Scott was there. I hope they wasn't. But we wasn't there, I don't think. And I know I wasn't, right? But when you look at the numbers, LeBron James 2013, 26.8 points per game, 8 assists and 8 rebounds. In 2024, 25.3 points per game, 7.9 assists and 7 rebounds. It's the exact same thing. You're averaging the same thing you did in 2013 and that you're averaging in 2024, Coach Scott. Is it far-fetched to believe that these allegations may carry a little bit of weight?
It's not. Again, I don't think anything is far fetched. I don't go home with the Jameses or anything like that. So I won't swear for anybody, but it's definitely something that I personally would like to get an answer for. I would like, as a fan, I would like to get more information about it because it's important. It's important for the statistical world to be able to understand who you're cheering for, who you're putting your stamp on. I think that is extremely important in this day and age where you have athletes that are coming up behind you. You see 21 years of just apex performance. It's one of the things where, if LeBron James could accomplish it, maybe I could accomplish it one day if I keep my health right, if I eat right, if I do the right things. But then if you find out that all of these things are a farce, you want to know. So I definitely would say, it's definitely not far-fetched. I don't think anything is far-fetched as it pertains to any athlete. But I definitely would like to know, and get down to the bottom of it for sure.
Right. Okay, awesome. Coach Hill, let me well, not awesome as in we want to awesome. I want to find out. I want to know because I want the conversation to be fair. Let's figure out who the show is called The GOAT Debate. And so when we're debating on the GOAT, we want to have a fair debate. Coach J.O., LeBron James just hit a mark. 40,000 points. Not only did he break Kareem's record at 38,000, he's took it to a new high at 48,000. With these allegations, until proven guilty, hopefully he's not. Let us put that out there first off. We don't want LeBron James to be guilty. It ain't, and I think anybody who's that big of a Jordan fan, and based on this, debate, if you want someone to be guilty of something, then I think you might be taking it a little too far. Is it fun? It's definitely fun to have the debate, but we hope this is not factual. But if it is factual, Coach J.O., 40,000 points. Is he still great? Or is he great until we haven't found out any facts as of yet, if it's true or false? Right now, do we look at him? Is he still great right now? And then when we find out if it's negative or factual, is he still great?
Let me make this clear. When it comes to LeBron and Michael Jordan, I don't have a dog in the fight, right? I just tell the truth. If it came out that Michael Jordan was using PEDs, would I be surprised? No, I would not. It wouldn't surprise me either. It just wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, if LeBron James, if it comes out that LeBron James have used PEDs over his career, would that change how I view him? It wouldn't. It just wouldn't. All right? And I'm going to tell you why. Because I judge him based on what I see from his game, from his skill set, right? Mm-hmm. The longevity thing is cool, right? It is what it is. There's plenty more factors other than PEDs to why that he could possibly play this long, okay? And I factor those things in already, mm-hmm. Okay? The style of play, the rules change. There's not many really great physical big men. There's so much things to take into consideration, right? But is he still great? According to numbers, yes. According to impact, no. He's not the same. He doesn't have the same impact that he did, 10, 15 years ago. But the numbers say different. You get what I'm saying? So the numbers say he's great, but the impact isn't there like it once was.
Okay. I can understand where you're coming from. Coach Scott, is LeBron James still great? I like him, love him, hate him, believe he used PEDs, believe he didn't use them. He said 40,000 ain't nothing to blink at. It ain't nothing just to, just breeze by. That's a very big number,
Is LeBron James still great? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. If you had a chance to watch the game, these last couple of games that he's put together, but down 21 against the Clippers, 34, 8-6, 62% from the field. 58% from three, brought his team back from the resurrection dead. LeBron James is still the greatest of our era. When you look at the 40,000 points that he's actually been able to amass over his career, you're looking at two careers really, so to speak. But when you look at the amount of players who have not even eclipsed 20,000 points. You're talking about the Dwight Howards, Tony Parker, Scottie Pippen, Isaiah, Rick Barry, Tracy McGrady, Magic Johnson hasn't even eclipsed the 20,000 mark. I mean, there's so many players that have played and put in the work and put in the time that we call our greats, that LeBron James has been able to put together 40,000 points over a career. Absolutely. I think that he is definitely put his crown on his head and said, hey, I am the king, and this is why. When you can do things like that over a period of time, again, I think that's why we have him in this GOAT debate. I just pray and hope that he doesn't, get caught with the Balco. If that is a true statement, if that does come out that he was using PEDs, he no longer becomes my GOAT. That means something to me. Does it take away from the skill set? Does it take away what he's accomplished? In my book, it does. It does, because you cannot have an athlete play in that arena and be considered the GOAT, and they didn't do it the right way. That's just my opinion.
I cannot disagree with that. We're gonna I'm gonna shift slightly. We're gonna stay right here in the same segment, and I'm gonna come back to what I'm about to say right now. I believe the NBA, they knew all about it. They know all about it. And I actually think they had their little finger inside of it and keeping it hush hush. The reason being is because of the first retirement of Michael Jordan. What happened with the ratings? From that point forward, I believe the NBA starts to search for ways to make sure ratings stay where they are. And one of those ways has been juicing stats. All right, Coach J.O. Alex Rucker. This is during the a podcast called Pablo Torre Finds Out. A former Vancouver Grizzlies scorekeeper named Alex Rucker admitted to juicing stats, which he stated that this is how he was trained by the NBA. And he gave an example. They were at a training in Detroit. He stated that John Stockton, they saw a video where John Stockton passed the ball to Karl Malone. Karl Malone grabbed the ball, followed by a few dribbles a couple times, a couple pump fakes, and then he scores. And then they asked the scorekeepers, is that an assist? He says no. And they said, no, that's definitely an assist. And he's like, wait a minute. How is that an assist? They said, because it's John Stockton.
My job is to create the most accurate, historical record of what occurred in a game. And I learned very quickly that was not the prevailing viewpoint. And I went to the training in Detroit. Part of this training is they would show us video clips. They show a Stockton to Malone clip, and there's a discussion, and there's that wasn't an assist, it was a pass, and then Malone dribbled a couple times, pump fake, and then made a tough shot, and that's great. But that's to me there's no real connection. There's no causal connection between the pass and the basket. And the majority opinion by a mile was, oh no, that's definitely an assist. I was like, what? Like, well, that's John Stockton. I'm like, yeah, I understand, but so? I left there clearly understanding that, yes, we are supposed to create the most accurate representation we can, but the NBA is also an entertainment business, and it's up to us in very small part as statisticians to support or reinforce stars and excitement and fun. And that message was definitely reinforced internally within the Grizzlies.
Wow. Coach J.O., I think this is the NBA struggling right now. What's going on? I think they're reaching to stay at a certain level, which when we go back to it, I think this is why they put their finger in the hush-hush juice concerning the LeBron situation. But go ahead.
According to definition, an assist is credited to a player tossing the last pass leading directly to a made field goal, but only if the player scoring a goal demonstrates an immediate reaction towards the basket after receiving the pass. I don't think people understand how big this is, right? And so you got some people that I heard, oh, this was during the Jordan era. So what do you have to say about, the Jordan stats and the players that played during his time? Okay. John Stockton is the #1 leader in NBA history in assists. By no means have I ever believed John Stockton is the best passer ever. He just don't come off as the best passer ever. I've seen better passers, whether it's Jason Kidd, whether it's Jason Williams with Magic Johnson, Mark Jackson. We've seen better passers,
Steve
right?
Nash.
So the same goes for today's game. How much more so today? Okay, that's why when people talk about the 40,000, I got people calling me, J.O., y'all better talk about the 40,000. Y'all better mention the 40,000. It doesn't mean as much to me, right? It just doesn't. Think about this. The Lakers didn't even stop the game last night. They did not even stop the game because we know now how much stats are actually inflated. This is why we have to take a commitment into watching the games, right? We have to absolutely watch these games. Just like you stated, Abaya, it's John Stockton. And Alex Rucker said, that's not an assist. And he was told, yeah, it is. That's John Stockton. It is an assist. All right? We see it all the time. I see it from Draymond Green all the time, rack up assists, where Steph will run around and he'll hand the ball off to Steph. Steph take 2 or 3 dribbles, shoot from here, and you'll credit Draymond Green with an assist. Okay? This is up for interpretation. And if there's a narrative to be pushed, they're going to push it based on the interpretation of what an assist is, the interpretation of what a block is, the interpretation of what a steal is. The same happened last year. I don't know whether y'all are familiar with the story with Jerry Jackson Jr., the Defensive Player of the Year last year. He averaged 2 more blocks and steals at home than he did. 2 times as more blocks and steals at home than he did away. And NBA Twitter, everybody was in the uproar like, how is this possible? And he was getting accredited with steals and blocks that didn't even look like he was getting steals and blocks.
Yeah. I think this goes all the way back to even Little League sports. I remember playing basketball in the tournament, and I scored 18 points. But when I went and looked at the stat sheet, I had 14 points. And we were arguing like, no. I scored. I was counting my baskets. I count those buckets, right? And on Gil's Arena, his podcast, they were talking about the same thing, about the stat sheet being inflated, and they were actually agreeing with Alex Rucker.
NBA is entertainment. It is fantastic. So when you hear him say that and break that down, do you agree, disagree? Do you feel like
we played.
Yes, you did. And I watched.
We played. We played, sir. There's been plenty of times where we sitting there like, hey, hold on, nah, I had 4 blocks today, brother. Who'd you give my shit to? Who'd you give my shit to? Like, you know what I mean? Like it'd be some of them days where you look at the stat sheet and be like, oh, come on. Did you give my steal to Larry Hughes because he's the leader right now? I bet. Well, take one of them points off of that motherfucker right there and just go ahead throw it this way then. That's what we're doing.
Obviously, I did not play as high as you gentlemen, but in college it'd be the same situation. Arguments, near fights would break out after checking the stat sheet.
So, Coach Scott, your thoughts. Now, if the NBA is juicing stats, if this is true, would you think they would not go as far to cover a story that has to do with the face of the NBA? Because you have to ask yourself, who's next? If this happens to the face of the NBA, what happens to the NBA? And I also want you to touch on this next point. The ratings are almost to the floor. So now we got LeBron James caught up in a steroid scandal or allegations. And then we have the former Grizzlies scorekeeper, Alex Rucker, talking about, I juiced or inflated the stats. Why? My theory is the NBA is trying to stay afloat. If you look at the ratings, the highest ratings for the finals, for example, was in 1998, the last year Jordan played in the finals. And since then, they have been going all the way down. Coach Scott, what's going on with the NBA? Are they sinking? Are they about to lose it? Is this a reason why they're not saying anything about the LeBron situation because of the ratings? And is this a reason why the scorekeepers are kind of fluffing the stats? Are they trying to give us a false sense of the NBA is more than what it really is?
Well, I think you make a great point. I mean, when you have a statistician or a clock manager that comes out and makes that type of statement, man, it kind of makes you open your eyes. But at the same time, we see, from a high school to college standpoint, a travel is not considered the same travel we know as, in the NBA. We see, the assists being different, blocks being categorized differently. But one of the things that I feel like that can't be tampered with is that ball going through the hoop. Now that, unless you credit another player with the point as opposed to who it actually was, I think that's, something that you definitely have to take a look into. But yeah, man, I think that the game the NBA is protecting the brand. And, I would hope, and I would, I go back to what I said earlier. I pray that, they're not trying to protect LeBron James as being the face of the NBA or anything like that. But, I think that would increase ratings if you had a scandal come out like that and to straighten the game back out, to put everybody back on a level playing field. You got kids out here dribbling balls to school and dribbling in the school, trying to get the proper handles and to make the game be what it's supposed to be in its purest form. And you got guys that's taking steroids, that makes the game unbalanced. And again, like Coach JL made a great point. Anytime you look at the game in its purest form, we have the definition of basketball, but as these referees and these statisticians are watching the game, they're coached and they're tailored to say, hey, look, this right here, that's going to be up to subjection. That might not be considered a foul, at home, but on the road, that's a foul. Those things matter. Those things actually play a major part. I did have a question for you guys. When I look at Michael Jordan's last couple of years, he played at an extremely high level. When I look at, I won't say Peyton Manning, but I'll say Tom Brady. Tom Brady played at a significantly high level for a professional quarterback. These guys weren't brought up in those type of scandals for some reason. We kind of heard about Mike's, gambling issue and et cetera, but those things were swept under the rug. They were dismissed and we've moved on. But it's kind of ironic that we see that LeBron James is about to, get ready to ride off into the sunset here very soon. These things kind of, again, it makes a tarnishment on a career when it potentially may be nothing, or it could potentially be something. And that's why I'm so keen on finding out exactly what it is.
Coach Jay, I'll let you answer first.
Hey, I want to say this, right? And I think that this gets lost in why viewership is down. All right, David Stern, right? When he was the commissioner. Think about this. At one point, the NBA used to push teams, right? It was about the Lakers versus the Celtics, whether it was about the Bulls, and to a certain extent, they got to pushing MJ as an individual. But at one point, everything was about team. Everything was about team. Everything was about promoting team. When we look at the NFL, everything is about the team. True enough, they push their stars, but it's about the team. Players don't run the NFL. Okay, the owners have complete control of the NFL. Simple as that. In the NBA, it's out of control. That's why the players can, ask for trades here, ask for trades there, do all this type of stuff because superstars and stars are pushed. The teams are not pushed anymore. They're not. And that's a problem. And that's a part, in my opinion, why viewership is down as well. Okay? Because they push players instead of pushing teams. Okay?
I can agree with that.
And so now they're at the point where they got to throw something to the wall to see does it stick for views. Because you keep pushing players And you're riding narratives forever until they get old. Now you're trying to find a different narrative. You got to go here, you got to go there, and you be all across the place.
Gotcha. I can agree with that. What are your thoughts on why that narrative that's hovering around LeBron never hovered around Jordan or somebody like Tom Brady?
Because I don't necessarily believe that. Not that they didn't use, but the fact that Jordan didn't play as long as LeBron has played, right? So the fact that LeBron has played these 20, 21 years, Jordan broke down earlier. So people can say, well, he couldn't have been able to use because he broke down. You know what I'm saying? He broke down at year 15 or whatever. He couldn't do it anymore. Right. Whereas LeBron, physically, he doesn't look any different than he looked 5 years ago. He just don't.
10 years ago.
You get what I'm saying? Physically, he still run, do those chase down blocks. He don't look the same. It doesn't. Now,
well, to be fair, Mike had a critical injury early in his career and also late in his career. Mike broke his foot like the second or third year he was in the league. And in his last 2 years, he had a major injury with Washington. So, that aided. Same thing with Kobe. Kobe tore his Achilles. He came back, but, they had major injuries. I don't remember or recall, other than that growing, I don't recall a major injury that LeBron sustained over his career.
Let me answer why I think that it doesn't hover around Michael Jordan or Tom Brady. For one, we don't have 3 or 2 of their closest associates and their wife named in the steroid scandal. That's first and foremost. And for anybody who starts saying you guys are just hating on LeBron, please understand these notes we didn't write them. The statements, we did not write them. These are the allegations that are out there because associates close to LeBron's James, their names are in documents as clients. Okay, as clients at this genetic or PEDS place buying the drugs. So it's not like people just made this up to throw mud on LeBron. It actually exists, right? That's the first reason. The second reason I'll say is this. When you look at Michael Jordan, I asked this question a few episodes back on our probably about 2 or 3 shows back. When did Michael Jordan leave his prime? A lot of people don't really know when he left his prime. I mean, I'm talking about with the Bulls. I'm not even including Wizards right now. Just with the Bulls. When did he leave his prime? A lot of people don't know because he was still dominant, even in 98. But he was dominant in a different way. He wasn't slashed to the basket, I'm going to jump over you, dunk on you, hit all the reverse layups. And that wasn't the same Michael Jordan. He was not as quick. He wasn't the same defensive player that he had been throughout his career. He was dominant because he mastered a fadeaway. All right, I can't jump as high as you. If I just go up and shoot, you're going to block it. I'm going to fade away. Most of his shots were fadeaways, not dunks. We didn't see Michael Jordan coming over like, Charles Barkley the same way we saw LeBron coming over like George Paul from like damn near half court. Like, wow, year 21, you still can do that? That was amazing. We didn't see those things from Jordan. Jordan was dominant based off his fundamentals, his smarts. LeBron is still dominant physically. Not saying he's not smart or he doesn't have the fundamentals, but I'm saying he's still just as physically dominant at the Lakers in year 21 as he was with the Miami Heat way back when in 2013. Tom Brady, to add him into the equation, to answer the question about him, he's a quarterback. Tom Brady wasn't Michael Vick. He's not scrambling. Put a good line around him and stop him from being hit. All he's doing is throwing the ball. He's not doing a lot, but throwing the ball. He's the decision maker on the team. Again, it's the mind that Tom Brady was there. He's not like going to be what we see as in Patrick Mahomes. He can run, he can, do all these different things. Tom Brady is throwing the ball. He was just a mastermind at doing so. Those are the reasons why I say we don't see those things with Jordan and Tom Brady. First and foremost, there's nobody linked to them that's connected to these documents or to these PEDs that are being alleged. I mean, would you disagree?
I think you make a great point. I think one of the reasons, in my opinion, why the ratings are down is, it's really becoming a changing of the guards. I was having a conversation with my brother, and he's like, look, if you look at basketball, the international team has caught up with the Americans. When you look at Wembley, you look at Joker, you look at Sabonis, you look at Luka, you look at Giannis. If those 5 went against America's top 5 right now, that would be a good game. And I'm gonna be honest. Like I was telling my brother, I don't know who would win. I don't know who would win that game.
Hey, Coach, I think the U.S. was getting beat way back when Kobe had to go save them. Honestly, I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Let me say this, brothers, and let's be real about this as well, right? Let's just be real.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA lost a lot of its viewers as well when they started or wanted to implement other things than entertainment. When people don't turn on a TV to watch a basketball game to hear about social justice issues. They don't. During the pandemic, when that time was going on with the whole George Floyd thing, they kind of turned off a lot of people. Okay, people watch sports for entertainment. They want to get away from quote unquote the real world. So when they're on and listening to these things and they try to make all these NBA players social justice warriors, it kind of throw a lot of people off as well. And I don't think they also regain that viewership from those people because you turned them off. They don't turn on TV to listen to that. They want to see somebody jump from the free throw line, shoot threes, throw alley hoops, make amazing passes. They don't want to hear about social justice issues. That's just a fact.
I mean, I can agree. It's a lot going on with the NBA right now. And just to solidify what these ratings look like, in 1998, Michael Jordan's last game, 18.7% of viewers of all households in the United States tuned in. It was almost 30 million people watching in game 1.
Wow.
The last
could you
finals?
remember at that time, though, that was the world talking about? I'm pretty sure there were things going on in the world where they're talking about social justice issues during basketball games.
I mean, sure they were. I mean, it happens, but not like, you make a great point. Not like what's going on now. Like, you know, I think they're searching and reaching. Like you say, I agree 1,000% with you. You got to get it back to where it was, but also understand it's not David Stern anymore. A lot of people didn't like David Stern, but he had the ratings up there. The views were there. The last finals, game 1, 6 million. That's 23 million less. The past Christmas, the NFL had 29 million views on Christmas Day for the New York Giants, who didn't even make the playoffs. The NBA, guess what? 12 million.
Wow.
17 million. That's 17. All right. So the ratings are dipping. We got Grizzlies scorekeepers saying, hey, we've been fluffing the stats for the longest. The NBA knows the first time Jordan retired, it dipped. And when he came back, they were smart enough to say, hey, we got to always make this thing about the next Jordan, the GOAT debate. You know, although it wasn't called the GOAT debate till later on. But they're trying to keep it. And they knew when Jordan left, things were going to go down. And we're seeing that right now. But anyway, we are way over on this segment. Let's go to the next segment. Guys, Scottie Pippen has changed his stance yet again. I have a theory on why he changed it, but Coach Scott, I'm gonna let you go. You might have the same theory I got. Why do you think first it's you're not the GOAT, you're a terrible player? You know, I love Mike, and Mike is the GOAT. Matter of fact, Mike, come do my speech at my Hall of Fame induction. Like, nah, you're horrible. LeBron's the GOAT. Actually, there is no GOAT. He's just all over the place. But now he's back to saying Michael is the greatest player ever. Coach Scott, what's going on with Scottie?
I mean, I think that Scottie makes it tough for himself. I think he should just stick a sword in the ground and call it what it is, right? And if Michael Jordan is his GOAT, he played with him. Hell, that's your GOAT. I mean, I wouldn't see anything wrong with it. I think that when you look at the body of work that, again, Scottie Pippen has put in with Michael Jordan, I think, Scottie is kind of flailing out there in the water when he says that Mike is not the GOAT. But when you talk about basketball and you're talking about competitive edge and competitive greatness, yes, Michael Jordan, I think he is the GOAT, and that's why he's my 1A. But when you talk about basketball and the greatest athlete that has ever played the game of basketball, you're talking about LeBron James, and that's why he's my 1B. So when you get a chance to answer that question, you have to answer it as such, not I think LeBron James is the greatest because I'm upset with Mike today, and then come back tomorrow and say, well, I think Michael Jordan is actually the greatest because, we put in a body of work and 6, championships later, here's where we stand. I think that it kind of makes you flail out in the deep water a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that, Coach Ayo. What's your thoughts? Scotty's back to having MJ as the GOAT. I mean, will it last? Will it change? They're on tour. Are they still on tour? I believe they're still on tour.
Yeah, they're still on.
And what is it called? The I Don't Like Michael Jordan tour or something like that, right? But anyway, they're on tour.
It was a No Bull tour.
That's right. The No Bull tour. I wonder how that's going to
tour.
go. So now because I was wondering about that, Coach Ayo. You now are saying Jordan's the GOAT, but now you're on the No Bull tour. Like, how does that work? How would that work? What's going on with Scottie, Coach?
Well, Scottie has been known to be fickle. He'd be all over the place. I mean, come on. 1 minute I've heard him say it's Kobe. He can go back to his Jordan. He'll say it's LeBron. Scottie's hurt right now. It's just what it is. But like I said last week, he's fighting a fight, an unfair fight. He's not going to win this fight. Right.
Yeah.
The same way that I talk about the LeBron James, fan club and how strong they are. MJ has a strong fan club as well. You're not going to win this fight, Scottie. You got 2 hands tied behind your back. You're not. Okay. Let me read this quote that he stated after the Last Dance came out. They glorified Michael while not giving nearly enough praise to me and my proud teammates. This is what he wrote in the memoir on the Unguarded, which was released in 2021. Michael deserved a large portion of the blame. The producers had granted him editorial control of the final product. The doc couldn't have been released otherwise. He was the leading man and the director. Okay? This is what this all is about. Okay? Now, in my personal opinion, was Scottie portrayed as a bad guy in The Last Dance? No.
Yes.
He was?
Yes.
Other than the point where the section of the documentary where he refused to go into the game, that's like the only part I could say that he was portrayed negatively. And that's a part, if I'm not mistaken, MJ wasn't even there that year. So I don't even know whether that should have been a part of The Last Dance. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if that should have been a part of it.
Here's why he was painted. Here's why he was painted as a villain, so to speak. Michael narrated that point in the actual
talking about the point that he didn't go in.
Yeah, he narrated that point. And if you're not there, hey man, that's a conversation that him and Scottie should have had after the game. And that's a point that him and Scottie should have had sitting down over a beer. But you don't narrate that point to kind of elevate yourself over a teammate that has been there through every championship you've had.
Well, I mean, will we say that bad choice by Mike was enough for Scottie to go on this rage tour that he's on now? And I'm not just talking about the No Bull tour. I'm talking about as far as calling Mike the worst player he's ever played with, attacking the GOAT status, knowing that, Jordan's competitive level. I mean, I think it was a bit much if that was the only thing. Here's my thought. That wasn't the only thing. As we stated before, sports unfiltered. Just tell the truth. Listen, the man's wife is now dating Michael Jordan's son, right? Yeah. So he's dating Michael Jordan's son. This has to play into it, right? Absolutely. So this is a woman who knew Michael Jordan's son, Marcus Jordan, while he was a kid. This is a little weird, actually. Why he's a kid. You know what I mean? Now, coincidentally, when she breaks up with Marcus Jordan, guess who says Mike's the GOAT again? Scottie. When the relationship is over, Scottie says Mike's the GOAT again. This was a major reason why I understand the Last Dance and what was going on with that whole situation, but I think it had to do with that situation primarily. Like your son's dating my wife, and here's the thing about it. I was watching the clip where Michael Jordan was asked, "Hey, do you approve of Marcus and what's her name, Laura Pippen's relationship?" He says no. Right? She tries to paint a picture when she's been interviewed that the families are fine. Well, now that they're no longer together, it's coming out more. Michael Jordan was against this from the start. He never approved of it. He never approved. And I think, Coach Scott, that somewhere along the line, Pippen probably felt like Jordan had something to do with this, or not something to do with it, but he could have been more of a person to say, "Hey, Marcus, you shouldn't be doing this." And maybe he thought Jordan wasn't doing it. You think that could be a possibility?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, with any son that has any ounce of respect for their father, if a father one-on-one conversation is, "Hey, this is not what we do. This is not how we conduct ourselves man to man. This is just not a good look." I think in no way, shape, form, or fashion does Michael Jordan's son date Scottie Pippen's wife. Like you said, this was a young man. I don't know, obviously, the age grouping, but this was a young man that he had to be at least an adolescent or a teenager growing up while these two were playing basketball. And for them to date, yeah, that stings. That's a sting that it's like none other.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
What do you think, Coach J.O.?
Right. Same here. Right. And as Scotty stated in the in his statement, Michael Jordan controls the narrative. We don't know their relationship behind closed doors. But one thing I can say publicly, I've never heard Michael Jordan say anything negative towards Scotty.
Right.
I haven't. But in Scotty's mind, he still can feel that Michael controls the narrative regardless. And he may feel Michael had something to do with his son, dating his ex-wife. You get what I'm saying? Because think about it. It's hard to believe that that's a coincidence. Out of all the people in the world that she could have talked to, out of all the people in the world that he could have dated, you're going to date the guy that my dad, you're dating the woman that the ex-wife, the ex-wife of the guy that my dad is beefing with at that time. That's hard to believe that that's a coincidence. You get what I'm saying? That's hard to believe that's a coincidence. And I can understand if Scotty has an issue with this, right? And he believes that Michael Jordan can control any narrative. Just because he's good, he has a good PR team, and he says the right things all the time. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
Right.
We don't.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair. From what I saw and what was reported in the, from the sources that I looked at, it wasn't Marcus who actually came on to her. It was her coming on to him and pushing up on him. Again, drama, gossip. We don't really know. The point is, this is a fair reason. Because listen, if I'm Pippen, come on, I'm mad at you too, Mike. Why is it? I don't care if I'm not married to her no more, Mike. It's the principle. Why your son dating, my ex-wife? Let's just be honest about this thing. So I can understand where Scott's coming from, but he has, I think, with the separation, he must have felt, and I'm guessing because I don't know Scotty personally, I'm guessing he must have felt some sort of relief, about the situation to, change his stance and say, "Hey, well, all right, Mike, I'll be honest, you to go." All right. So, but that's it for that segment. Let's move to the next segment. All right. Jokic. I always mess his name up. Always help me out, please.
Jokic. Nikola Jokic.
Why can't I say that?
Nikola Jokic.
Jokic. Is he the best player in the NBA, Coach J.O.? Now, before you answer that question, please understand this. An all-time low, or one hovering around the bottom, was the finals between the Lakers and the Miami Heat. They averaged about 4 million views per game. Remember, in '98, it was like 29 million, which means the ratings, they're just plummeting. That's 25 million less, right? Well, with Jokic, well, in the last finals, they averaged about 6 million. A little bit higher than, the Lakers and the Heat. But why is it he's so great of a player? He's a 20 and 10 for his career, right? Now, check this out. With him, he started in his rookie year 10 points. 10 points per game, right? 10 points per game. But now he averages 25. He also started with 2.4 assists, and he's at 9.2 assists per game, which shows he only grew. And with that assist, which means if he's growing in his assists, he's obviously making his team better, right? Great team. They play great team ball in the finals. They really had poor ratings. Jokic may be one of the best players, if not the best player in the NBA, but he's boring to watch. Is that the thought process on a lot of people, why he's just not that face of the player in the NBA? I've heard that. What are your thoughts, Coach?
I love watching Jokic. I don't know whether y'all heard it or not. Kevin Garnett recently came out and said Jokic is more dominant than Wilt Chamberlain. And the thing about it is, right, you can look like that all you want to. Y'all can look like that all you want to, right? And see, this is the issue that I have, right, when it comes to Jokic. When it comes to LeBron James and his stats, no one wants to bring context. No one wants to talk about the eras they played in. They just want to strictly stick with the numbers, okay? Jokic in 9 seasons, 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA first team, 2-time All-NBA second team. Back-to-back MVP, finals MVP, okay? Last year playoff, he averaged 30 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 9.5 assists. Jokic led the entire playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists. If LeBron James have done that, we would have had the parade. Even if he didn't win a championship, it'll be parade.
Did it.
Y'all know LeBron led the whole playoffs in points, rebounds, and assists.
He did it.
Okay,
against
stop.
a better team.
Hold on. Let's stop right there. Let me read some of these names. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Is he pretty good?
Yes.
Okay. Hakeem Olajuwon. Shaquille O'Neal. Patrick Ewing. David Robinson. Karl Malone. Tim Duncan. Dwight Howard. Dirk Nowitzki. Kevin Garnett. Okay? Think about this.
Question.
Are all of those players all-time greats?
All-time greats. I'm only going to ask one question.
Hold, coach. Hold. Nikola Jokic is a 27.5, 12.1 rebound, 7.3 assists per game player in the playoffs. That's greater than every player I just named.
Great.
Every player I just named.
Awesome.
Okay, so
what you said.
Hold on. We love stats so much. Why doesn't this apply now? Why is it so much context got to be brought forth when it comes to Nikola Jokic? Why?
Is that the question I can answer now?
I want to know why.
I'm ready to answer.
Don't we just stick with the stats?
I'm ready to answer.
Okay, let's go.
You can stick with the stats, and those stats are phenomenal. And those stats, again, they sit alone and they sit by themselves. But when you said you look at the holistic picture, when you said you look at the holistic picture and you look at the different eras of basketball, you're naming all of the greats you named played in a totally different era of basketball than they are playing right now. The same arguments you make against LeBron James.
But you didn't just bring that out, Coach, when we were talking about the 40,000. You didn't just bring that out.
But Coach J.O., I got to agree with Coach Scott. I've said that several times over the last few weeks, and I didn't think this was going to be going that way, right? But
I'm saying,
I got it.
Did anybody mention that when we were talking about the 40,000 and how LeBron got his 40,000?
But wait. No. Hold on. I told you guys before, even with the scoring record, there's an asterisk next to the scoring record because Kareem didn't have a three-point line. Kareem made 1 3 in his entire career, all right? the 3-point line came later. So he wasn't shooting threes. So if he would have been shooting threes, then, we might have a different story. So, but what you just said, you named, yes, all-time greats, like Shaq, for example. Shaq wasn't running the point. Shaq wasn't bringing the ball down court. It was a different style of play. Centers played differently. Centers back then were centers, right? Centers today are small forward point guards. They're a little different. So that's why I agree with Coach Scott. And again, Wilt is a 30-point per game, 22 rebounds, and 4 or 5 assists. That's dominant. To say he's more dominant than Wilt, if you say he's more versatile or he can play more the point, maybe, but to say more dominant, I don't know, Coach.
And that's my problem with Jokic. That's my personal problem. Being the big skill that he is, he's not the most dominant player on the court when he's on the court.
Huh?
It should be so noticeable. It should be Shaquille O'Neal noticeable that he's the most dominant player in the NBA.
So let me ask this. Coach J.O., what is your definition of dominance? Maybe we agree and we're just looking at it from a different angle than you what you're presenting. Maybe that's it.
Okay. Let me break this down for you. All right. Right now. All right. Jokic is a 26, 12, and 9 guy. Shooting 58% from the field, 35 from 3, 82 from the free throw line. He's number 1 in PER since the 2021 season. Number 1 in player efficiency rate. Since the 2021 season, he's the only player to finish top. I know he only finished top 10 one time in usage rate. So what does that tell us? Jokic isn't dominating the ball like a LeBron James, like a Luka Doncic, like a Ja Morant, like a Jalen Brunson, like all these other guys. He's not dominating the ball, but he's still able to put up all of these crazy statistical numbers. He's number 1 in the NBA in touches. He averages 100 touches per game, but he only averages 2.79 seconds per touch. Okay, that's not even top 6 on his team. What am I saying? He doesn't dominate the ball. That's not even top 50 in the entire NBA. He averages the most touches, but he doesn't even have the ball in his hand the most on his team. Okay? What does that tell you? This man is literally almost averaging a triple-double.
That his point guard is an animal. That's what it tells me.
He is the point guard. That's the thing. Jokic is the point guard. If y'all want to call LeBron James the point guard, why Jokic isn't the point guard?
Wait, hold on. Wait. Who is y'all? I never said that.
You get it. Yeah, don't Abaya.
You talking about him.
Real.
You talking about him. I never said that.
I've heard this for years. LeBron James plays 1 through 5. He can guard 1 through 5. He's the best point guard.
I've never said that, Coach J.O. I don't even believe that. I don't believe that whatsoever. You can't tell me LeBron James would have been guarding Shaq, because I don't think today's center is yesterday's center. And so I don't think LeBron James will guard Shaq or Dwight Howard or David Robinson, not even Tim Duncan. That's him. I'm telling, that's him.
I'm saying, why do we have to bring so much context with Jokic? But when it comes to LeBron, it's simply stick with the numbers. We don't have to bring up nothing. It just stick with the numbers.
Because you the context guy, though. You always say numbers without context.
But can I be like y'all, though? Can I be like,
whoa,
like
you keep saying y'all. When do I not ask for context? That's him.
But can I be like Coach Scott for a minute and don't bring no context?
Don't tell that tale on me. I definitely like the context. Let's just say this, man. Let's say this. You were literally just saying Joel Embiid was the MVP of the league before he got hurt. He showed his dominance night in and night out.
Oh, awesome.
Night in, night out. Luka is not, Joker is not showing that type of dominance. He's showing that type of skill set. He's showing that he can pass. He's showing that he can rebound. He's showing that he can score, but he's not showing that type of dominance that Joel Embiid was showing. Embiid was doing it inside and outside.
Coach JL, you did say Embiid, Was
I did,
MVP. He
right?
was the guy. He was the man.
But this is the thing, right? And now I'm about to bring context, right? I'm about to bring forth the
Backpack,
context.
backpack.
No. I'm about to bring the context forth.
You
Okay,
Scottie
now,
Pippen in me, man.
no. I'm about to bring the context. Now, somebody got to play devil advocate as well. So Jokic doesn't have any competition in the West. There's nobody that compete with Jokic in the West. The centers that can possibly guard him, like a Steven Adams or somebody, yeah, they could probably guard him, but they can't go back at him on the defensive end. Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo are the only two players who can actually match up with him on the defensive end and actually go at him on the offensive end. So Jokic is going to go through the West. He's going to eat through the West. He's going to. He has absolutely no matchup that's even close. Anthony Davis is an all-world defender, one of the best to ever play the game. He can't do anything with Jokic. Nothing.
So,
Absolutely nothing.
Coach JL, hypothetically, Embiid, he's not injured. Who's more dominant, Embiid or Jokic?
Individually, you would say Embiid, but this is not an individual game.
But what you just said, Coach, was that Jokic is the most dominant. So you were speaking on an individual basis. I'm just speaking with you.
No, but I wasn't necessarily speaking on. I was speaking on how he fits in a team concept.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's all. That's why you can see more success from Jokic's teams than Embiid's teams. And we can't say that Jokic just had way better players than Embiid over the years. We cannot say that.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I think Abaya made a great point like 2 weeks ago. It's not about the ultimate players. It's about that system. It's about that team. And does every player on that team know their individual job and can they get it done? And Denver has a phenomenal team set.
No, he's the system. The same way Steph Curry is the system. Let me ask you this question. You put Embiid on the Denver Nuggets and you put Jokic on the 76ers over the years. Do the Denver Nuggets win the championship last year with Embiid?
You said
the Denver Nuggets win the championship with Embiid last year and Jokic isn't there?
I think so. I think so.
I'm split.
No, you don't.
I'm not sure about that one because it goes down to the style of play. I think they both fit with their teams, which goes back to system. They're in a good system.
Jokic is the system. There's no system without Jokic.
I don't know if I can say
There's no system without him.
You're saying that because he gets 100 touches a game. Yeah, that indicates.
It's a reason why he gets 100 touches.
Right. That indicates.
It's a reason why, though.
They're running the system through him.
Because he is the system.
That's why. I understand what you're saying on that. But what I'm saying is you would have to be very lackluster in your understanding of basketball to think that Joel Embiid would not impact the Denver team to win a championship if he had a chance to.
Yeah, they can build around him.
Wow. So why can't he impact his own team? Why hasn't Joel Embiid even made it to one conference finals? One. He's had Jimmy Butler. He's had James Harden. He's had Ben Simmons. You can't get to one conference final. Not the NBA finals, one conference final.
Yeah, I can give you that, but I can't. It's like Bill Russell, man. He won 11 chips. You know, it's more than Wilt. But was he as dominant as Wilt? No. I mean, he averaged like 18 points with a bunch of,
one conference finals, you can't get to one.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. I'm with you there. I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from. I probably just slightly disagree with you a little bit, but I get your point that you're making. We got to get ready to move on. Now, I will say this. I'm going to ask you guys this question before I move forward. Start with you, Coach Scott. Jokic, if he's the best player in the league, is he the type of player that's going to draw attention to help the ratings go back up?
No.
Coach JL?
If he's winning, yes.
He won last year and he still had the lowest ratings. Some of the lowest ratings.
No.
In the finals.
It's not him. It's the NBA. It's the product. It's not him.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. Because yeah, it was dropping before then. All right, let's move to the next segment. All right, Michael Jordan is an overrated defensive player. Coach Scott, you the Jordan hater up here. I mean, you're the guy who says Jordan's overrated sometimes, a little bit. I'm just playing. I hope you never say that. Is Michael Jordan overrated in his defensive skills?
I think that Michael Jordan as a defensive player, I think he proved that in his era he was one of the greatest defenders of all time throughout his era. But when we look at the full body of work, Mike did what all great players do. He picked his spots. He picked his spots to be great.
What does that mean? what does that even mean? What do you mean? Did he go stand on a spot on the court or something? Like, what does that mean?
What that actually means is there were times, and there are clear distinctive times where you see Mike not going and reaching. You're reaching to play hard basketball, playing man-on-man basketball. It was times where Mike was resting on his defense to give more to the offensive side of the ball. It's clear, distinct times that we can watch and we can see that. But as a whole, yeah, Michael Jordan was a great defender. But there are times where you can watch the game and see where Mike is resting on the defensive side of the ball to pour it on the offensive side of the ball. It's clear.
Coach Scott. Coach Scott.
All great players do it.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just Michael Jordan. That's the intelligence of the Michael Jordan. That's what makes him great. He understands how to pace the game. He paced the game probably better than any player I've ever seen play the game. He knew when to say when. He knew when to turn it on. He knew when to facilitate. He knew when to let his guys kind of front run to give him a chance to be able to have that break. That when you got in the fourth, it was airtime.
So, do you believe that Michael Jordan? All right, so you say he picked his spots, maybe he had his moments or whatever, but primarily speaking, does he play at both ends of the court 100%?
100%?
Generally speaking, just like
generally speaking, yes.
So
yes.
if we say if he played 10 games, if he played 10 games, hold on. If he played 10 games, 8 or 9 of those games out of the 10, is he hustling back and forth on both ends of the court?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what made Michael Jordan. His competitive greatness was unparalleled to any athlete to ever play basketball, period. Other than Kobe being Bryant, I would say so.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Coach Dale, thoughts? Is he overrated? Jordan overrated on defense?
I don't know what the definition of overrated is, right? Is that subjective? I was disappointed when I heard Rasheed Wallace say that. You know, I'm a Rasheed Wallace guy. He's an old school guy. You know, he's a defensive guy. He's the physical, rough guy. Like, I don't know what was his motive in that. I don't know. Like, can you come up with clips where you see somebody, dropping off Jordan or whatever? Of course. The way I see it is you can't get crossed over unless you're trying to play defense. True enough, Allen Iverson got him. A couple guys got him, but it wasn't from a lack of effort. It's just that you cannot get a stop every play.
Right.
You can't. All right. Michael Jordan, Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time first team all defense. It's tied with number 1 all time. 3-time steal leader. He's number 4 all time in steals, NBA history. He's number 2 in blocks amongst guards in NBA history. Okay? Let me read you something. Because so many people over the years claim that Scottie Pippen was the go-to stopper or the best defender on the team, whatever. Okay? If you don't know what defensive win shares
Fake news.
Defensive win shares are the estimated number of wins contributed by a player due to his defense. That's what defensive win shares are. Outside of the 85-86 season, when he broke his foot, Michael Jordan was number 1 on the team in defensive win shares up until the 1996 season. Okay? So let's not get it confused. True enough. Hey, Jordan's number one primary goal or number one purpose on that team was to put the ball in the basket. That wasn't Scottie's. Okay. So if you expect Michael Jordan to drop 35 points a game and go out and guard the best player every single possession, something's wrong with you. Of course, Scottie could do that at times because he didn't have the load that Jordan had. But when it was time to play defense, okay, I don't care who Michael Jordan was matched up against. He was ready to go. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing overrated about Michael Jordan as a defender. Nothing. There's nothing you can say that's overrated. Okay? Nothing.
You agree, Coach Scott?
I like it. I like his argument. I mean, to be fair, yeah, he's right. He's right. To be fair.
So let's solidify it a little bit. Yeah, when Rasheed said that, I was a little disappointed too. But
he's a Detroit guy. You gotta understand it.
You know what? That's true.
You gotta understand the history of that.
That's true. I didn't think about that. That is very true.
He's not gonna relinquish that to a Bull. Not in the least.
Yeah, that makes sense. But you know who else says this? They built this narrative? LeBron fans. And I'm not talking about Coach Scott. But most LeBron fans have gone with this myth that since the 1991 playoffs, when Jordan picked up 2 quick fouls in the first quarter when Pippen had to guard Magic, that Scottie always guarded the best players. This is a myth, right? Let's put this myth to bed real quick. Let me read you guys something real quick. So let's start from game 1 to game 5. Let's just go through game 5 because it was a 4-1 series. Game 1, MJ guards Magic, the majority of the game. MJ guarded Magic. Magic had 19, 10, and 11. Now get this though. He only got 2 points. Magic only scored 2 points when Jordan was guarding him. He picked up his points through transition when Jordan wasn't on him. Game 2, okay, MJ picks up 2 quick fouls. They put Pippen on him. This is where the LeBron fans get the narrative that, hey, well, Pippen always guards the best player. This is what they're running with. Game 3, Pippen only guarded Magic 8 possessions. He fouled out, and MJ got back on Magic in the fourth quarter. They went overtime, holding Magic to 0-0-0-0 in 2 turnovers. He locked Magic down. Game 4, MJ guarded Magic. He was the primary defender. Pippen only guarded Magic for 12 possessions. That was it. In Game 5, Scottie got it. He guarded Magic once. All right, once. In that series, Magic Johnson averaged 18.6 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds. Jordan averaged 31 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds. Jordan was dominant in that series. But this is the narrative that's being pushed that Michael Jordan he's an overrated defender. And it's only being pushed by one group of people. It's crazy. Now let's go a little bit further, and I'm gonna ask your thoughts on this. The 92 finals, Michael Jordan guarded Clyde Drexler, a top 5 shooting guard of all time, who averaged 25 points per game. But in the 92 finals, Michael Jordan was guarding him, shutting him down. Drexler was getting all of his points when Jordan was not sticking him. But when Jordan was on Drexler, he was shutting him down. Coach JL, is this an exaggeration? Why are they running with this narrative that Michael Jordan is... It's simply to push the GOAT debate, the GOAT argument. Because when we look at the numbers, when we look at the facts, and if you watch the games, you saw what happened. What do they call it? That recency bias? Coach JL, what?
Of course it is. And as I always say, HDTV has fooled us and spoiled us. Okay?
Really?
These games wasn't in HD, so people don't want to watch them. The younger generation don't want to watch them. Okay? And the older generation either are just on the LeBron James bandwagon, or they forgot. I don't understand how you can watch Michael Jordan and say he was an overrated defender. I don't get it. You get what I'm saying? I just do not get it. I don't understand that. What about his defense was overrated? What about it? Like, he's literally, like, arguably, if there was a poll, who's the best defender of all time, I'm not saying Michael Jordan would finish number 1, okay? But he would be somewhere at the top of that list if there was a poll. He just would.
So when it comes down to it, because that's the narrative that's being pushed, well, Magic was killing Michael, so they had to put Pippen on him. Jordan,
that narrative has been stated. It's not LeBron James fans.
That's no.
That narrative.
No. Every time I hear it, every time I'm tagged in a post, that's who it is. I'm not saying that they. I give this to you. Maybe somebody else runs with it as well, but it's definitely LeBron James fans. Every time. I mean, I get tagged. That's the primary source they go to. Was the 91 Lakers series when Michael Jordan guarded Magic, the most throughout the entire series. But they go to game 2, the quick 2 fouls, Pippen guards Magic, yada 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 yada. But that is what they go to. But just to add some stats to solidify what we're talking about, then we're gonna go to the next segment. So, for example, let me just read through these real quick. All right, it's an incomplete list of notable offensive matchups that Jordan guarded. And we're talking about the playoffs. When it came down to Isaiah Thomas, Jordan guarded him. Charles Barkley, brief stretches, Jordan guarded Charles. 91 finals, Jordan guarded Magic. James Worthy, brief stretches, Jordan guarded James Worthy. Clyde Drexler, it was Jordan. Terry Porter, Jordan. Kevin Johnson, Jordan. Tim Hardaway, Jordan. Penny Hardaway, Gary Payton, Rod Strickland, Steve Smith, Reggie Miller, and John Stockton. In brief stretches, it was all Michael Jordan who was guarding them. And in the 1998 playoffs, when they was playing in Indiana in Game 7, Reggie Miller had 22 points. He was 7 of 12 shooting at 58%. In the fourth quarter, Michael Jordan had to switch to Reggie to make sure they didn't win that game, holding Reggie Miller to 0 points. Reggie was only able to attempt 1 shot. If Pippen was a guy who guarded all the toughest matchups, why would Phil continue to put Michael on all of these players and not Scottie? That's a myth. Again, I agree with Coach J.O. HDTV, you say, right?
Yeah. It's a big myth. And this is the thing, too. This is a narrative, right? On one hand, and I'm going to say LeBron James fans because they're the culprits, right? They'll say
they can't
Michael Jordan,
be the culprit if it was started prior to. Come on, man.
Well, they're running with it.
He didn't play against no real scorers. But then on the flip side, you'll say, well, Pippen had to guard everybody. Like, which one is it?
Good point.
You get what I'm saying? He didn't play anybody, or Pippen had to guard everybody. Which one?
Pippen did the majority of the guarding of the score. Jordan switched to the best.
We just proved that was false.
Jordan would play for ball denial. That's how you get those stats where you see the dramatic drops off. Reggie Miller, he had ball. He was literally denying him the ball. Ball denial is a defensive tactic. Like we say HDTV. Rewind them classics. Go back on them old classics and just watch. Michael Jordan's doing a phenomenal job of ball denial.
Reggie Miller got the ball. He was only able to shoot it once when Jordan locked him up. He was getting the ball. Not to mention Vince Carter, 3 years in the league. He's bouncing through the gym. Michael Jordan switches on Vince Carter the entire second half after having 22-point first half, holds him to 0. And this was the wizard Michael Jordan. Some of that defensive problems are still there. But with that being said, we got to move to the next segment. Here's the question, guys. Stephen A. Smith. Coach Scott, I'm going to start with you. Stephen A. Smith versus, what do I want to say? The Pelicans organization. Did they really respond and come for Stephen A.? Did they really do this to Stephen A. Smith? Was it called for? Did he ask for this? He probably did.
Yes, and they need the Warriors arse out because Stephen A. has a bad habit. He has a bad habit of poking the bear. Journalism, all-time great. He might be the GOAT as it pertains to journalism and what he brings to the game, but he pokes the bear. He knows what he knows, but then he takes that extra step. He's a habitual line stepper, and it has to be. And you not only the Pelicans, but you see other players are now coming to the defense of NBA players that Stephen A. has disrespected over the past based off of what he feels he knows so much about. and players are getting tired of it. So the organization themselves, they are wearing him out, and they need to wear him out. And he wears Arsh out, and he needs to just he's got to settle down a little bit. He's got to settle down, you know.
Hey, Coach Jo, I agree with Coach Scott 1,000%. We can call Stephen A. the GOAT. Now, truth be told, just because you the GOAT, that don't mean you're a good person or a likable person. You see how the Bulls teammates feel about Jordan. They don't like him, you know. And we can look at least I would say America. You know, we can look at we can look at the history here. You know, America didn't become America by not being America. They had to be America to become America, if you get what I'm saying. With that being said, you know, Stephen A. didn't become Stephen A. without being Stephen A. I think this is something Kwame Brown was pointing out as well. Like, there are some questionable things. Like, why do you have to say the things that you say? Now, when it comes down to Zion, maybe he could have reworded that. I understand the point he was trying to make. Hey, you're in a league where you make millions of dollars. You need to come in shape. But did you have to throw the hamburgers and pizzas and fat?
No, he didn't.
Did it have to come out that way? But at the same time, Coach Jo, that's what get the views. Nobody watch. It's entertainment, right? So again, is he the GOAT of journalism? Maybe so. But how he got there, did he take the high road or the low road? There's a lot of people saying he's taking the low road. What's your thoughts?
Nah, I don't want to make this a black and white thing, but we got to talk about it, right? There's a lot of the African-American brothers who feel like they are unjustly criticized by Stephen A. Smith.
Absolutely.
It's not fair. Why don't you use this same energy with the white athletes? You literally go on emotional rants. He went on ESPN allowed this man to have an almost 15, 20-minute segment, literally breaking down every terrible play that Kwame Brown had. And he literally tried to humiliate this man on national TV. He did it. He did Lamar Odom the same way. Lamar Odom was going through some of the roughest times of his life. And you literally got on national TV and said, the man smokes crack. Okay? Like, where's the empathy for these players? Where is it? Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. Zion Williamson is a professional athlete. He makes millions of dollars. He should be able to have thick skin, right? But me personally, the guy could be your son. He can be your son, right? There's ways to come at Zion than talking about the cheeseburgers and dude, get in shape. But you're trying to humiliate him, okay? You're not trying to encourage him, Stephen A. You're trying to humiliate him, and that's not cool. That's not cool at all.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And with the whole Kwame thing, when he took that airtime to do that, I'm just going to be honest. Again, I've said it. I think Stephen A. is the GOAT of the journalism world. But I thought that was one of the weakest responses I've ever seen. Ever.
Yep.
A blooper reel that you can go get Michael Jordan's blooper reel. You can go get LeBron James' blooper reel.
Every player got it.
Magic Johnson, Kareem, every player got so to say you don't play 12 years in the NBA by being a bad player. Oh, he's horrible. Oh, he would have been gone year 1, year 2. You know? So that response, to me, that was personal. It was an attack. And the same thing with Zion. Like, it could have been said differently. You know? The thing with Lamar Odom, I'm like, oh my God, that didn't have to be said at all. It comes to a point we understand, like Coach Scott, the NBA, we know. We just finished talking about the ex-Grizzlies scorekeeper who came to the understanding this is entertainment. And the people, we got to do what we got to do to make the people watch. Okay, we get it. Ratings are dropping. We got to do what we got to do. And so if you're covering it, guess what? You have to cover entertainment, which means you have to be entertaining. I get it. I understand all that. But to what extent? When do you say, you know what? Maybe we can help lead and guide these young guys by giving them some good advice, or we're just going to continue to trash them so I can continue to get my numbers up to where I want them to be and do so by crapping on you. I agree, Coach Scott. I mean, go ahead and I'll pass the mic, because talking about that, it gets you a little frustrated. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely. I mean, I have you. I think you guys summed it up. I think you know, that if we were in a basketball gym, I just threw the lob and y'all double dunked it, right? I mean, it's something that is been done multiple times on multiple players in a multiplicity of ways, and it's not fair. It's just no empathy. It is a personal jab, a personal attack, and it's being seen, and it's been seen over and over and over again. And these athletes are like, all right, okay, here's how we get back. Here's how we get back at him. And you know, now it's the organization. And you know, the organization just got a little bit more money than Stephen A. And they're wearing them out.
Yeah, man. Now when your bloopers are being released, your bloopers, we're upset now. We're gonna do a show about it and things of that. No, keep the same energy as when you release Kwame Brown's bloopers. You know, keep the same energy. You know, and one thing about that whole thing is you guys were talking about a man who hadn't said nothing to you in 20 years. Why was his name continuing? When this first started coming out, you know, I was really not knowing what was going on. But then as I listened a little bit, I'm like, oh, that's a good question. I mean, why are you continuing to say this? Like, what is behind the scenes, you know, that got you saying this? We get the entertainment, but you guys are making entertainment off somebody who ain't said a word in 20 years. It's crazy. So, Coach L, I get it, man. Now that the energy's on you, you're upset. I mean, what was it? What were the stats? It was the stats, and I don't even know them, honestly. What was it, college? He went down and made like 17 3-pointers in a row and got a scholarship offer, and he averaged, what? It was 1.5 points per game, and I think it was through one game? Something.
How's that possible?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like literally, like how is that possible?
Like, man,
I don't know.
Is it even mathematically possible?
I don't know.
1.5? One game, 1.5?
It's something like that. I could be wrong about it because I didn't take the time to like really memorize it. But my thing is this, man. Again, when you get to certain levels, man, when you're in certain positions, when you're in certain places, when you have a certain voice that reaches a certain amount of people, if I say things about, okay, I have a whole nother platform than this, right? And you guys know about it. I got a whole other platform. You know, we've crossed the 200 million view mark. Just imagine if I was over there using that platform to just tear down innocent people, right?
Sully people's name, yeah.
Just imagine how many people I've reached, and you don't understand until you start walking out in the street and somebody starts to recognize you. But they recognize you based off of what somebody else stated. Because let's just be honest, most people don't think for themselves nowadays. They're gonna think about you, what somebody told them to think about you. And now that's not even it's not fair. So I think we need to be responsible as, you know, a people, whoever has a reach like that. And I have nowhere near, you guys have nowhere near the reach that a Stephen A. Smith has. I think he needs to be a little bit more responsible no matter how successful he is. And you put out what you get back what you put out. You bet you out. Yeah. All right. So let's move to the next segment. All right. This one I'm happy to talk about. Cam Newton clears the air. Cam Newton. Who did I start with? Coach Scott. Start with you. I think I started with Coach J.O. last. No, I did not start with you last. Coach J.O. Cam Newton clears the air. What are your thoughts about this brother and how he handled the situation and stated, hey, listen, man, you know what? I could have did something differently. What are your thoughts on Cam Newton?
First thing I want to say, man, I'm super, super proud of Cam, man.
Yeah.
I'm super, super proud of Cam Newton for his words and the things that he said. And this needs to be not a message only to the African-American male community, but all men in America. Yep. You have to take responsibility for your actions. Point blank, period. Cam Newton did that. Regardless of whether he felt like it was his fault or things was initiated on his end or not, he stated there's absolutely no excuses. My emotions got the best of me, and I should have did better. As a man who has a duty to his community as well. Myself, now Coach Scott, Abaya, all of us have a duty to our community, right? And Cam brought up the fact that not only his life, but others' lives could have been affected if things would have got really, really, really bad.
Right.
He talked about him knocking somebody out, somebody knocking him out, putting somebody in a coma, things of that nature, right? He gave deep thought into those things, right? And he showed a level of maturity and a level of wisdom that a lot of men just don't show. Okay. I'm super proud of him again for doing and taking the high road. And not only that, those guys that he got into it with, he didn't bash those guys either. He acknowledged their contributions to the community as well. I appreciate what Cam did. I appreciate what he said. And moving forward, this should be a lesson to all men on how to handle conflict. Everything doesn't have to end in physical combat, even though there's always that notion or that understanding that it can go there. It doesn't always have to go there. I'm proud of Cam.
That was one thing that stood out to me too, Coach Scott, when he was talking. It wasn't like, hey, well, they did this, you know. He's like, you know what? I have a responsibility, and those guys do a good job as well. And with that, I was like, you know what? Now that's some grown man stuff right there. That's some grown man stuff. And also by that can actually rekindle a relationship. All right, man, we messed up. Let's do this better. Right. And what better way to, if we publicly messed up, let's publicly make it right. Coach Scott, what's your thoughts on it?
Oh no, absolutely, man. I think he did a better than great job. I mean, he set the blueprint for men, not just melanated men across the country. He set the bar, the standard for how men should have conflict resolution. And more so than that, he left the door open for the men he got in the scuffle with to come back and say, hey man, look, let's mend this broken bridge. And that's what it's all about. That's the message we should be preaching and pushing to our kids. That's the example we should be setting for our kids. He did a phenomenal job. He backed up what he's saying. He's not going to quit his 7-on-7 leagues. I mean, if you were looking for an example of how to do damage control and not have someone do it for you, this is the first time I've ever seen an athlete do their own PR in a situation that literally could have been misinterpreted, misconstrued, or taken the wrong way. He did an outstanding job of speaking for himself, standing up for himself, taking accountability for himself, and leaving the door open to bridge gaps with brothers that he got into a scuffle with. I'm very proud of him, and this is an example that I will be preaching and teaching to the youth that are around the country that I get a chance to actually meet, for sure.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very true. And man, you know, again, you're out there, you're doing something positive for the community, something negative happened, and to just the way you handled it and tried to fix, even if it's not resolved, right? You tried to resolve it and tried to be a positive role model for those who may find themselves in a situation similar to that. And all men, you know, we all need to, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter, man. That's how we got to handle situations when we mess up, because we all mess up. So definitely a shout out to Cam on how he handled that.
Shout out.
We just want to take the time just to say salute to him for how he handled that. We're going to stay right here in this segment, and we're going to move to top 5 toughest sports. I'm going to come to you, Coach Scott. Let me guess. Let me guess number 1 on yours, football. What are your top 5 toughest sports before we get out of here?
In the off season, man, I used to box to get my wind up and stay in shape. And let me tell you something. If boxing is not on your number 1 list, I call it the 3 minutes of hell. Let me tell you, boxing is my number 1. Wrestling. In high school, I used to, just train with the wrestlers. Wrestling is crazy hard. Track. Usain Bolt made a statement. He said he ran for 7 years to get below 10 seconds. Yep. Do you know how much throw up on a track you have to do that? I mean, just every day, you ain't backpedaling, you ain't opening the hips, you ain't driving on the ball, you ain't even catching a football, you just running. And it's a sport that you just gotta, in my opinion, you just gotta respect it.
Yeah.
Then football, then the mental aspect of being able to get out there on that golf course. People don't understand.
Yeah.
18-hole golf course, these professionals are walking 5 miles. 5 miles, and the mental drain that game will take on you to be mentally ready and steady to putt, to drive, to chip. All of those things come into play. So those are my 5: boxing, wrestling, track, football, and I definitely would say golf.
Yeah, hey, that's a good top 5. I can't argue with that one. Coach J.O., your top 5 toughest sports of all time.
Okay. I'm going to start with number 5, and that's football, right? When you are literally, it's a sport, right? That you literally have to collide with somebody. You're paid to go collide with somebody at full speed. Many people don't want to sign up for that, okay? That's why you don't see a whole lot of pickup football, right? You don't hear that much. You hear, flag football, but outlaw, you don't hear that a lot, okay? So football would be number 5. Number 4, hockey. I don't know about y'all, brothers. I'm an athlete, but I don't know how to skate. I don't even know how to skate on 4 wheels, let alone ice skate. And when you're talking about ice skating and hitting a puck, while somebody can come and knock you out like they playing football, that's tough. That's tough. Okay. Number 3, baseball. Okay. My family has a deep, deep background in baseball. If you don't know, Dwight Gooden, that's my uncle, Cy Young winner in 1984. Wow. Okay. I don't know. Randy Johnson is the most intimidating baseball player I probably ever seen. Okay. Almost 7 feet tall. He's standing on a mound. Imagine trying to hit a 101 mile per hour slider for Randy Johnson. You're not going to do it. You're not. I don't care how many times you try. You might don't even stay in the box. You'll get out the box. You'll be so scared. Okay. Number 2, tennis. Okay. I don't know whether you brothers done played tennis before, but I can't hit the ball across that net. I can't do it. I don't know about y'all. I can't do it. All right. And number 1 is golf. It's tough, man. I took golf in college, right? And I thought that I was going to get up there and be the man and do this and hit this ball, 200, 300 yards down the field.
Tearing up grass.
Touch the ball. I didn't touch the ball. 10 swings. I didn't touch the ball at all. The ball didn't move. And I was sore after. Golfing isn't easy, man.
It's
not. Okay. And players like Tony Romo and Steph Curry who actually get close to being able to get in the PGA Tour, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Because you have to be good, man. You got to be good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my top 5 of all time, you both had some awesome top 5s, but my number 1 is going to be baseball. I'm going to tell you why. Because when I was younger, I went out to Palm Beach State College and I tried to try out for the baseball team because I was an athlete. I was good at basketball. I'm catching it off the rim. I'm dunking. I can shoot. I played football. I was good at football. I can definitely play baseball. That's nothing. The coach let me come out and he was just tossing the ball and I was just missing it. He just tossed it again. And I just missed it again. He tossed it about a few more times before he walked down to me and put his hand on my shoulder and say, "Son, you might want to try something else." I was like, "Wow, yeah, you're right." And I'm looking around all embarrassed. I was like, because I was the best athlete. Not that day. So baseball to me is the toughest. I will go with golf because it has the same type of, you got to swing, but you have a smaller ball, and you don't have a bat. So golf is extremely tough to me. I can play putt-putt. I can do that pretty well. But the real deal, and plus like Coach Scott said, you walking 5 miles, you walking all over the place. You know what I mean? My number 3 is boxing because of the conditioning. I box. I got my gloves. You know, I love to go box. And part of my cardio, I would go get the heavy bag and I would box. I got a little buddy, man. He's a boxer. And we would go out and we just like, we're not even really hitting each other. It's just more for the workout. By the end of that second, I'm about to pass out, man. I'm fighting like, oh my God. He like, you ready for round 2? I barely made it through round 1. You know what I mean? After that is wrestling, because you have to be in good shape to wrestle. They do a lot of working out in wrestling as well. A lot of working out. And so to me, wrestling and boxing kind of like baseball and golf. But my number 5, I'm going to go with football. Because Coach J.O., you're right, man. To run full speed and collide with somebody, I don't care if you got on pads. You know what I mean? You got to have a certain type of mindset to do that. Just think about it. People think, oh, football. Yeah, but you got a Brian Dawkins flying at you. I got to go deep, and I have to look up for this ball, knowing that there's a missile somewhere around here trying to nuke me. Right? And the name of the missile is Brian Dawkins. Running lot. You know what I mean? John Lynch. Brian Urlacher. Gotta take a certain type of mindset to do that. So for me, that's my top 5, and that's my reasoning for it. But, it's always interesting to see how people think about different things. We all had a different top 5, but, I don't think nobody can argue with any one of ours because it was all, a good reason we had that list. But with that being said, we have come to the end of our show. And before we get out of here, man, I want to make sure to tell you guys, follow us, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. All right, hit the like button. And that little bell down there where it says all notifications, make sure that's turned on. And again, I said this several times before. I got a Twitter account now. Please follow me. I ain't got no followers. I got 6. And I might have 7 if Coach J.O. decides to follow me, man. Follow us on all social media. This is The GOAT Debate, brought to you by GOAT Debate Media. And I'm here with Coach Scott and Coach J.O., the 2 best coaches online, man, doing their thing. And we will see you guys next time. Welcome to The GOAT Debate, the premier online sports debate show where engaging discussions and thrilling debates unfold as we determine who is the greatest of all time in every sport. I am your host, Abaya Israel, joined by my 2 co-hosts, Coach Scott and Coach J.O. Tune into our YouTube and Facebook channels to catch our reactions and coverage of the biggest games and the latest news. Don't miss out on your chance to participate in the action. Join us every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The GOAT Debate, where you, the viewer, can call in and share your thoughts on who deserves the title of the GOAT. Be sure to mark your calendars. Every Monday, we upload 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, and we go live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to subscribe, call in, and participate. Come and be a part of the conversation.